All right, we are back. We're talking zero-click RCE, MCP, all the acronyms. The NX package system, package management thing got hacked with a bunch of malware, and hackers are asking Google to fire a bunch of researchers.
Hell yeah. His name's Mike. My name's Steve. Welcome to Wired In.
Yes, we're back. We got 10 great articles for you, 10 breakdowns from yours truly. Make sure you hit that button because you never know we're going live. Sometimes it's a Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that somebody forgot about until a few hours ago.
Wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, Virginia Tech has a very important game today. I had to get into the gym before it closes down. Go Hokies.
Go what? The
Go
Virginia
Hokies.
Tech what?
Virginia Tech Hokies, little turkeys.
Isn't it? Oh, really? I thought that was a
Yeah.
sandwich. Anyway,
Yeah.
interesting.
All
Yeah,
right.
looking forward to seeing what the mascot looks like. Take a photo for me.
Okay. I'll send it to you after this.
All right. Shall we move?
Into the good stuff. Yes. The hot topic for this week.
Yeah, everyone covered this. Because there was a Endor article, there was a Wiz article, there was the step one, and I went through them all, and this one seemed like it had the most detail. If I do a little bit of scrolling here, you'll see it's pretty never ending. Nice little thing on the side. But I should never say I like malware. Well, sometimes it covers so many aspects of cybersecurity that you admire it.
Mhm.
Because this exploited a malicious GitHub PR that was able to add something to a particular package and it was AI, so it added a prompt to the package, making an assumption that this package would then become a dependency that would be consumed by a cursor or a VS Code that has AI in it, so it could give it instructions to do things to export all of your keys and private data, which was so clever that I admired it. It was good.
Mhm.
And even it leveraged the post install on NPM, which is a classic maneuver that hackers do to try to drop a new piece of script or something malicious into the post install that largely goes unmonitored. It's one of those living off the pipeline kind of problems that exist within SDLCs and within CI/CD platforms. So it all kind of cascaded up to the point where it was this major problem, and it was reported very casually. Did you see the
Yeah.
GitHub issue report?
Yeah.
It
That
was
should go
like,
in the
hey,
WTF section.
just had the prompt. Is this prompt that says export all of your stuff? Should this be in here? Like, no.
Yeah, and if I read it correctly, the hackers pulled a token from the build system, right? It was part of the repository. It was in one of the PRs, and they managed to pull it out. They didn't think it was possible, but I guess they were able to do it. Then they used that token because GitHub has these long access tokens. They were able to use that to then publish to the build system, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it combines so many aspects of security that, like, the guys at Boost, that was the name I couldn't remember last week. Last episode, Boost Security, they very specialize in is how to access your pipeline, and that's just one of the many ways that they talk about. And then I know several hackers who explore NPM's various failings, like the ability to add scripts. So
Mhm.
it's pretty cool. It makes me want to construct a capture the flag that is sort of based on it, because it seems like a fun one to mimic in a learning environment.
Yeah, and is this the first documented example of somebody living off the land with the user's AI?
I might be, yeah. It was one of those things we were having a conversation only a few weeks ago at work internally about like AI malware, and they were calling it metamorphic malware,
Mhm.
where you don't have to really necessarily you combine AI with malware, or you use natural language embeddings that will be picked up by an AI powered, say, IDE that will tell it to write malware, and without you seeing it, run it. So you don't so all of those malware signatures just go out the window. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, exciting times. Also, the second article, I think that is the first truly documented piece of living off the land, right?
All right, where are we going? Is this the one that? Why don't I get
It's,
my
well,
navigation?
this is published by you guys.
So this was published by us. This is a research piece. So this isn't real. Like this didn't happen. This is an example of what could happen.
Okay.
Video. If you go to the article, just click to the video walkthrough that my colleague Brett did in tandem with some of our research team. But essentially, I can summarize. I'll scroll down so you can read the TLDR. But it was shocking that, say, within and choose your MCP client. It doesn't really matter. Cursor is the one that they use because you can add the Google Docs MCP to Cursor, and it's fairly realistic. So imagine you're in Cursor and your design docs for what your vibe coding are in Google, and you say, "Oh yeah, go grab the design docs from Google. It's called blah blah design docs, and read them and start vibe coding my thing." You can, what he proved, and I hadn't realized this, it's one of those eureka moments. So say you're doing it, Mike, and I create a Google Doc that I also happen to name Mike's super important design doc.
Mm-hmm.
And I share it with you. So I get your email address and I share it with you. But I tick the box that says, don't tell him, don't alert the user. It still shows up in your Google Docs. So when you use your IDE, it will find the document I shared with you. So I was able to inject something into your Google Docs without you knowing, and it will be found by Cursor, and it can contain a prompt that, or in this case, like the way he did it, he had a design doc that referenced the gist. The gist had the prompt, so the prompt wasn't even necessarily in there, and then it executed on the prompt.
Yeah, and so I think you have to have these two things. One, YOLO mode enabled. So we talked about this 2 weeks ago with Cursor, where when you execute a Python script, for example, it'll ask you every time. But obviously you get a lot of fatigue and you just say, okay, like Cursor, whatever you want, just execute it. So you have to have that enabled because you have to say, okay, pull the project document outline or something like that. That says yes, it pulls it, and then it executes some code through Cursor. So the YOLO mode has to be enabled. Also, it doesn't necessarily need to be project outline documents. You can just inject millions of documents into a GitHub Drive or into a Google Drive, allow everybody to access it, put a bunch of emails in there, and just hope that one day somebody goes to Cursor and says, "Hey, I need this thing," and it pulls the wrong file, right? So you're going to get a lot of email requests maybe over the next years about Google Doc sharing. Don't accept
them. Well, you won't even know because he clicked the "don't send the email" button.
Well, you got to think that Google Docs are going to come in with some sort of security barrier there.
That's the only thing I can think is the remedy to this, was that tick box has to go away. Like you have to tell people that somebody just shared a doc with you. Do you want to accept the share? Not, it's just there. Congratulations.
Yep. Yeah, definitely scoped access is going to be coming in handy here.
Okay, this next one I realize is weird. It's one of the ones I added. Frack. So this is proper, I would even say stupid hacker stuff. But like yearly, Frack, which calls themselves a zine, right? I haven't heard that phrase for about 40 years. Collates a bunch of articles. You right now they're actually accepting articles for 2026. And there is a huge list that they release very awkwardly as a tar.gz download.
Okay.
And it has 20 articles that are all really quite good, except it's just a bunch of text files.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And like, does this have merit? I was kind of like going, do I care about this? Like, but it turns out I did, because I looked at some of the articles and there's one about AI fuzzing, and it's all very cutting edge, modern DEF CON-y stuff.
Yeah.
So what I did, and what I highly recommend anybody who goes to this link does, is click this, download it, pop it straight into ChatGPT and say, make this readable. Read them all for me, find the ones you know I would like, which it did, found 5 that I thought I would really like. I said, make it more readable. And it made it so much easier to read, but it's worth it. And it's weird. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I read the CPU backdoors article. It was very interesting. I just feel bad for whoever had to write this in a text file and create the tables.
Yeah. I know, right? It's like, I don't know. I think there's some benefit probably to creating a small GitHub application that ingests FRAC and just makes it into a very nice readable website. That, I bet you that's a lovable project that you could do in about half an hour.
That's the article you said submit to them for next year.
Not bad.
All right, this next one's you too.
Oh man, yeah, we really front loaded me.
Yeah.
Okay, detecting and countering misuse of AI, August 2025. There's going to be a callback to this at the very end of the show. Because of this, I found something else that made me laugh, and I hope you will as well. This is the Threat Intelligence Report, August 2025, disrupting AI cybercrime. It goes into a variety of different, I guess, threat vectors in terms of agentic AI, and in terms of use of cybercrime, talks about vibe hacking using I can't say Claude Code or Claude.
Yeah.
Anyway, this for large scale theft, etc. Even the summary is worth a look. I did load up the actual threat intelligence report. It's not exhaustive. It's pretty short. And
it talks about 3 main techniques. We talked about the North Korean IT workers that were using AI. They'd bring in one coder to pass the code test, and they used AI to impersonate a bunch of people. They were able to get a bunch of money and work for 30 companies at one time or something like that, which is pretty impressive. I think the malware generation was interesting because there's a lot of different ways that you can use malware and inject them, and as a payload, it's just how do you get it there, right? So you can create that, put it on the dark web, and sell it. Whether or not it's useful or not, or you can actually get it as a payload is different. And then the third example was just how cybercriminals use cloud to scale data extortion operations. So there's 3 pretty basic use cases. I think it's just the speed at which you're seeing this adoption that is the most alarming.
Yeah, it's really an interesting, I guess, case studies. That's a way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
So go grab it, go download it. I think you'll find it a fascinating read.
Yeah, it's 3 very different use cases too. It's going to be interesting to see what else pops up in the coming months. These things are moving fast.
I know, it sparks the imagination.
Yeah.
For the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah, I'm thinking about things. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have this next one. WhatsApp patches a 0-day 0-click flaw. Yes, security advisory. I think it was August 20th. It was patched. An out of bounds write issue. Processing a malicious image file may result in memory corruption. Apple is aware of this. This was not just WhatsApp. I think it actually affected the operating system. So it was an Apple patch that went out.
Upgrade.
I mean, I got a notification a few weeks ago for a critical upgrade. This is probably what it had to do with. The bottom part is the most interesting because it talks about, this one was not as big of an impact as the one in 2023, where the NSO group was ordered to pay $167 million in damages to WhatsApp. That stemmed from Pegasus. They impacted thousands of WhatsApp users. And that was, I believe, an Israeli firm, right? Is NSO.
Yeah.
And it was used
That's
against activist journalists and diplomats who use WhatsApp for its encryption and to go in and report on things. And so it was like there's a little controversy there. So much of the NSO group was listed as a not organized crime, but I forget what the list is in the US. Basically, we cannot buy any. They're blacklisted from buying anything from the NSO group.
Yeah, I believe that.
So there's a little bit of drama there. We'll get into the WTF stuff and it gets even worse.
Do we have one more non-WTF?
One more non-WTF, yes.
One more. All right, cool. This is a personal journey, I guess. That's why this one's here. Having spent, oh gosh, I don't know, 4 years of my life eyeballs deep in SAST, static analysis for security testing, and knowing how difficult it is for compiled languages to really do a good job, and the overheads and some of the really complex SAST, they actually attach to the compiler and they compile for you so that they can watch every possible function call connection and create a very complicated abstract syntax tree. There's a whole art to it. It's almost like you have to get compiler writers to write the code to do the SAS to create the rules. It's a business, unless you do what this guy did, and you combine the use of why am I blanking on the AST creator? I want to say something tree, sitting tree. What's it called? Just God. But it combines LLM for interprocedural context in combination with more, I guess, low overhead SAST. And it does this in a way that is far more efficient and doesn't require compilation, which I thought, this is incomplete. It's using code QL at the moment, but it's good, but it has the potential to be looking awesome in terms of being a competitor to the major SaaS providers.
Yeah, and so my interpretation of this was they implanted a bug in a bunch of code, and then they wanted to test a bunch of LLMs or agentic AI applications, see if they would catch the bug. And they were able to do it with, and they were able to reproduce their results as well. So then at the bottom, they talk about, okay, well, what happens if you upgrade your model, if you have more reasoning tokens? Like, are you able to go deeper? Are you able to spot these issues and deeper embedded within the code? So if it's able to find one consistently, it's like, okay, well, how deep can this go? That is a good test. It almost, I feel like, should be one of the benchmarking tests.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Tree sitter, that was it. And when I got to the end and I was looking at, like, is it consistent across 10 consecutive runs? Yes, it finds the correct bug every time. And it was a difficult bug to find. It was a Linux operating system bug, and that's like a lot of code. So, and they go and I read the future work here. You can see where they're checking performance against different ideas, different code languages. I think if they got into something like C, they'd really have which is I think what this is tested on, because the Linux kernel is written in C. That's probably, if you could do that, then you've already crossed many, many hurdles in terms of being useful. Opening Serif would be great for ingestion by other tools. Yeah, it's like, this seems like a really cool project. So if you're into SAST and you're into AI, I think this would be a great place to jump on in. Maybe I will do that. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I always just wonder about these SAST AI tools, because what happens if they hallucinate and they don't find a bug, right? Like, you really have to get any of your false positives down to almost zero, because otherwise, you're competing against those SaaS tools that they have a bunch of PhDs that are writing more specific rules, and they can point to exactly what's wrong, right? So do you need AI, or are those tools enough?
Yeah, I think that's what remains to be seen, right? I think the eventual winner is going to be some kind of hybrid classic in context with LLMs, just because they can do it so quickly. But yeah, I mean, I'm behind anybody who does it. The problem I think I had with the old school SaaS tools is they just took too long to do what they did. And I'm trying to see if can this do it faster, particularly if you've got an LLM that is constantly monitoring a very complex code base, and you can get it to assist with your SaaS like right away with the right context, then it'd be game changing.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we have one more. I'm not going to fight with you on that one. We have one more before we get to the WTF, because this one's it's just a big old document from the U.S. government. Yes, the No Adversarial AI Act was passed through U.S. Congress, and if you are a foreign adversary, the U.S. government cannot buy, use, or integrate any of the AI tools into the U.S. government. There are exceptions, obviously, for testing or for experimentation, or to see what the adversaries have. There's a whole process for that. The U.S. government has 90 days to remove any adversarial AI from the government. Really interesting, just because one, I'm always shocked at how they classify an adversary. You know, they can still buy things from Canada and Europe and other places around the world, but not like China, Iran, Russia. It's like, okay, well, with you feel like when you read these texts, there's just a big border, and it's just like, hey guys, you're either going to have access to the U.S. markets or you're not, based on how adversarial you are. It's very broad.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like another one of those government interesting sentiments without paying any attention to the fact that AI is pretty borderless. I don't know how this is workable at scale. It doesn't seem like that you could keep up. I mean, AI is proliferation and innovation and able to almost, I don't know, obfuscate its own adversarial intent.
Yeah.
Sometimes could be a problem.
Yeah, like how do you regulate open source? There's a bunch of open source models, and I'm a US company, and I take the open source models and then I sell it to the US government. Does that circumnavigate those controls? And it's very interesting. I think it's
seems,
also more just to crack
hard
that hammer on the US government entities themselves, because if there's anything controversial, they'll make sure that it's gone within 90 days. And so at least then you can work from that baseline and then go up. Seems to be non-restrictive on purpose as well. All right.
Okay, let's get crazy. Is this where we are?
Yeah, we're into it. We're into the crazy stuff. Speaking of adversaries, not adversaries, this was an interesting one. ICE obtains access to Israeli-made spyware that can hack phones and encrypted apps. And I only say adversaries because the NSO group was fined by the US government for hacking WhatsApp phones. The NSO group is a competitor to Paragon Solutions, who's also Israeli-made, who made this backdoor. And it's like, okay, so the WhatsApp backdoor bad, this one good? Israeli use it bad.
Given the
Israeli
article
use
we
it
just read.
bad. USA use it good.
Yeah. But we're banning adversarial AI because I don't know. That's when it's convenient. There's always that caveat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. The spyware it seems impressive. It allows ICE agents basically to track people completely, see what documents they're looking at, go through encrypted services. I guess is pretty impressive. Now, interesting that the contract was brought in under the Biden administration. It was like a $2 million contract. When the Trump administration came in, they put a whole compliance order on everybody to review it. Seems like it passed. Maybe they like the spyware that much because they realize it's useful to them. So yeah, it's in ICE's hands now. WTF?
Okay. Yeah, it's wild. Like I don't know. It seems almost hypocritical. I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah. There's a lot in there. It's a good read.
All right.
It's a good read. It's a political thriller, if you want to go through that. This one's less of a political thriller and might be more relatable to the average person. Yeah, sextortion with a twist. Spyware.
You're talking about yourself.
I'm talking the average person. I've seen the stats about usage on the internet. Spyware takes webcam pics of users watching illicit material. Don't watch that stuff. Pretty basic malware. It just listens for specific keywords in the URL and then turns your webcam on, sends that out through various services, Discord, chats, SMTP, all that stuff. So it's kind of what you'd expect. I found the most interesting part of this article was that the target, it was specific to the target. They wanted people who were ashamed, were willing to pay money, and they were going to go individual through individual, because it's a lot less likely that they get reported or that the authorities look into them because of what they're trying to extort. Pretty smart.
Yeah. Where do you get this malware? How do you get this malware? How is it deployed? That's what I was trying to figure out.
It was through email phishing attacks and one-time password credentials, where it's like, oh, you have to install something on your computer. Like, it's The method of install is kind of difficult. You have to be technologically illiterate. I think that's
Yeah.
what they're going for, right? They're going for 50 plus, a bunch of money, illiterate, thinks that there's a virus and they have to install something, or, you know, those sort of campaigns, and it tends to work, right? I don't think they're
Yeah.
going after the average 18-year-old.
No, those guys are too. I mean, they certainly are watching enough illicit material, but they're
Illicit,
a little
explicit.
too explicit. Yeah, that unfortunately probably a little too tech savvy to fall for it.
Yeah. Yep. All right, we got what? I guess two more and a bonus today.
I only
Oh
see
no,
one more.
one more and a bonus.
One more in the
Yeah.
bonus. All right, the big
Yeah.
finale-ish. Hackers. This is the first time we've ever seen something where hackers say, "Aha, I've got your data, Google." Classic combining forces, the lapsus and scattered, whatever they're called. There's
Hmm.
multiple groups involved now saying that they have Google data, even though Google hasn't actually acknowledged that this is real or not. And they have demanded that you must fire, where are the names? Charles and Austin Larson. Well,
Yeah,
very
CTO at
specific.
Mandiant and Google's principal threat analyst. They're going after those two. Kind of shocking. Shiny Hunters was linked to the Salesforce breach that we chatted about 2 weeks ago. So I wonder,
Yeah.
they say that they teamed up. It's like, okay, we teamed up so that we can kind of bluff through obscurity with
Yeah.
what happens. Typically you probably want to send some piece of evidence. Maybe it's just for the headline to get the three of their names out there, right? Really kind of shocking. And why those two people?
I don't know. There's scattered spider, lapsus, and shiny hunters. Yeah. This is almost a double WTF. They were trying to get somebody fired. For me, if somebody said, "Hey, we've got all your data that we want you to fire Mike Foster," I would give Mike Foster a raise because this guy is probably doing something that they don't like in terms of tracking down baddies. So I think this is probably an endorsement. You want to put that on your LinkedIn. Hackers tried to get me fired. That's important. And also, if you're looking for some spare cash, go back.
No,
You gotta see this.
that's right.
Paid someone
$1,000 for a tattoo.
$1,000 to tattoo the name on scattered lapsus hunters onto them. So yeah, that's the second WTF in here. If you need a bit of money, hacking groups are willing to pay you for a tattoo. This is important.
Yeah. Great out of here for those two.
Yeah,
Yep.
there we go.
Yes. Well done. All right. Last bit of funny before we head out.
Yeah.
Anthropic with a great 404 page.
All right. So I the reason I went here is because that last report said the August report, and I thought, do they do one every month? So I just wrote June at the top instead of, and it came back with a 404, which was a 404 poem generated by Claude Haiku 3.5. Page cannot be found. Empty screen mocks my searching. Only void responds. A beautiful haiku because it's Claude Haiku. However, choose Opus and it sits and writes an entire poem, and it's not always the same. And you just sit, and it went on. Last time I did it, there was like 10, I don't know, verses or stanzas for it just goes on and on. Sort of themed.
Yeah.
But it's like I have never spent so much time on a 404.
Keys long expired through valleys where no living packet goes. It's on theme.
No, it's pretty good. And again, if you can stop it, which apparently you can't.
Just
the other
burning through tokens.
Yeah,
So much extra energy.
Yeah. And the other one writes you another one, another variation. Anyway, I just thought this sonnet does one. There we go. Because it's a sonnet. Now it makes sense, right? Because they're all named after types of poetry: haiku, sonnet, opus. Like it's all you'd see the theme to their model names, and they're using this for their 404. So that got me thinking. Like we got the internet's got to up its 404 game.
Okay.
I get disappointed anytime I get to a website. I check the 404 just to see if it's creative, and it's not. And I'm like, come on, that's a fun Easter egg that every site should have. A very cool 404.
Completely agree.
Anyway, I realized I wasn't really cloud native or security related, but it's funny.
Scratch the WTF itch. All right, we're gonna be back hopefully in 2 weeks. Just remember to hit that little bell so you know when we go live. He's Steve. I'm Mike, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on Wired In.